because that was a good video. I took it all around the site, my drone, and then I brought it back here and I drove it into my camper so you could look all around my camper, and then I brought it back out again. I was like, oh, look at me. But when I looked on the drone to download it, it fucking wouldn't download. It wasn't there. Hello.
Hello, it's me again. I thought I'd keep you company.
All right, Tony.
It's been a good live stream tonight.
Oh, thank you.
Done very well. You're only allowed on a certain number of hours, aren't you, each month?
Yeah, you can only have 20 hours, but I know I've gone well over it. But on your last stream, if you go over that 20 hours, they won't cut you off.
Oh, good.
But once I go off, I won't be able to come on to about the 11th, I think, which is not that far along.
You enjoy yourself, don't you, when you're having a live stream? You have a nice laugh.
Yeah, because I don't like all the bullshit, though. I just like to have a nice chat and talk shit about stuff.
It's good to have a mixture, though, isn't it? It's good to have a mixture of people.
Yeah.
Makes it interesting.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
But
I've been on like 3 hours and 40 minutes, which is quite long, really, because no one ever listens to a live that's 3 hours and 40 minutes. But I just look at it like it's entertainment for me, to be fair now.
Well, a lot of people listen to it later on, don't they? They watch it the day later, or
what, 3 hours and 39 minutes?
Oh yeah, you'd be surprised, Paris. A lot of people watch it the next day.
Yeah, mind you, the good thing about this one is it won't get struck off because it's got no music on it. All my lives get struck off.
Yeah,
I've done loads, literally loads, and so like when I get a copyright on them, I don't just get one. I get like 6 or 7 on just that one show because of the amount of records I play. Most of them are fucking copyrights.
When you put that restream link up, anybody could jump on.
What restream?
It's restream, isn't it? The restream link.
Oh yeah, StreamYard, yeah.
Is it StreamYard?
StreamYard, yeah.
Oh yeah, there's restream.
Restream. Yeah, I think restream you use on your iPhone.
Yeah, I didn't check. I just pressed the link. It's either restream or StreamYard, isn't
it? Yeah. I think restream and what's the other one that I'll get on my iPad? They fucking wind me up. They really wind me up.
I know very little about this sort of thing, Paris. I just press buttons and see what happens.
Yeah, they work a bit different, and they just piss me off because there's the
Here's a question. Here's a question for you.
Go on.
No, don't misunderstand me. This is a genuine question. Is it possible that one day all of us crazy mixed up kids on YouTube would all just step back and think, do you know what? Let's all just get on.
Nah. You will get people that will think like that, and then there'll be a new batch along that want to create the havoc that they love.
But it is a choice, though.
You'll never get peace and harmony because there'll always be a new batch come along that want to create havoc.
But what I like about you, Paris, even though I've pissed you off in the past, you let me back on because you give people a chance, don't you?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's a good quality.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world, is it, when someone slags you off?
This is it. You know, it's the intent, isn't it? If somebody's really trying to hurt you, that's why I got upset a bit earlier, because I was doxxed, and I think that is illegal. You can't sort of wriggle out of that. It's an illegal thing to do, and it's a spiteful thing to do. And people will, when you do that, you're hoping that some lunatic's gonna latch onto it. The people that dox, they're not the ones that come round, are they? They hope that someone else will.
No, but to be honest with you, right, I don't actually think doxing is the end of the world. Doxing is like, to me, the horrible people use doxing as you can't get any lower than that. That's bang out of order. If someone
People have
really
been
wants
killed.
to know
People have
who
been
you
killed.
are,
People have been
yeah,
killed though because of doxing. People have
yeah, I
been
know,
killed.
but people have been killed walking out their street door or crossing the road.
No, but people have been
But at
killed
the
because
end
of
of the
doxing.
day, yeah, but there's
Yeah,
all sorts of nutters out there, right? But at the end
I
of the
know.
day,
Exactly. Exactly.
if you don't want to be doxxed or if you don't want to be found out, don't put yourself out there.
Well, I didn't.
Quite simple.
I
Yeah,
didn't though. I didn't.
but
I didn't.
but you're online. You're
No,
online.
my name wasn't known. My name was revealed by someone else.
Yeah, but
Someone
how
someone
does
actually
someone
revealed
know
it.
your name?
But it was
They
Tony's
found it
girlfriend.
out through
Tony's
YouTube.
girlfriend. Tony's girlfriend
Yeah,
told
but
it.
they found it out through YouTube, didn't they?
No, they found it out because I was in a relationship with them.
Yeah, but you was on YouTube and someone knew it was
No,
you.
it was a private relationship that I was in. And then she told Tony.
So how did it come about then, Convid?
Well, she told Tony. You have to
Right.
ask her why she did it. She told him my name, and then
But
he
was you on
researched it all.
YouTube? Was you on YouTube?
Not as my name. I didn't. No, because I wanted my privacy.
No, but you was on YouTube, weren't you?
Yeah,
And
but
you
not
got
with my name. I did. That's why I was called Convid.
yeah, you got recognised.
No, you're not listening. She went out of her way to tell him, and then he researched it all. She gave all the details where I lived, and then he went on. It was very creepy what he did. He went and went on Google Maps and made a video all about it, and he zoned in on my property. You could almost see through my window. Very creepy.
You obviously pissed him off, didn't you?
Because I was with the woman. I was with the woman that he wanted to be with.
Oh, right.
He was jealous. Exactly. And he's with her now because it didn't work out between me and her. And then she literally jumped into his arms straight after on the rebound. And that's why I said to him, you've won first prize, you should be happy. And all he does is moan about me. And I'm saying, come on, Tony, be happy. You've got the woman of your dreams.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, Tony does seem like a decent guy. So, like, at the end of the day...
So it's decent to dox someone, yeah? That's a decent thing to do.
No, I'm not saying that. But at the end of the day, like...
But why would somebody do that? What would be the reason to do that?
If someone doxed me, it would be completely irrelevant to my life.
But why would somebody want to?
Well, because it's like I went out with a girl once, and she used to go out with a guy, and because I found out how bad that guy treated that girl, I wanted to get revenge on him, right? Nothing to do with me, that guy, but I got my revenge on that guy. And that's kind of what's happened there.
No, it's not at all, because I didn't do anything wrong to her.
Well, as far as she's concerned, you did, because
that's not true either. That's not true either.
She went with the other guy.
No, she went with him because it didn't work out between me and her. And I told her that she should try it with him. I said to her, it might be better if you actually tried with him to see if it works out. And she's admitted that I've said that. She went on his live once and admitted that I said that. There's no bitterness. There's no ill will. But he just seems to be.
What do I have to do? Because my telly's going to go off in a minute.
He tried to get Brian Hurl to come round and assault me.
Well, that ain't going to work, is it? Who the fuck's Brian Hurl?
You don't know the full story. It's all very odd.
I don't. But like, oh, it's all right. I've sorted it out. I don't, but like that's at the end of the day, that's not my beef, is it? So
Well, it's not mine either. I don't have it. You heard me laughing. That's how I deal with it. I deal with it by laughing and not trying to be too intense about it.
Yeah. I mean, I can't stick up for you, and I can't stick up for Tony. It's like it's the beef between you two, and you have your little. You
I don't have a beef. That's my point. That's why I don't have a beef. That's why I keep ringing in to try and just have a laugh.
You've got one now, and you've gone vid.
Say it again. I didn't hear. I didn't hear what you said.
You've got beef now, haven't you?
No, I don't. Look, I honestly don't. That's why I'm laughing. I don't have any ill will. It just fascinates me that he just can't let go of this rage and anger. And I've just called back to say about Matt. I think that it was very unfair, a lot of the things he was saying about Matt.
Yeah, but I know Matt, and Matt's a very nasty, horrible person. So anything that Tony says.
But why do you think? Why do you think he is though? But why do you think he's? Why do you say that?
I don't know why he is.
Now, why do you feel?
At the end of the day, right? I never got on with Matt, but I was never a hater of Matt, right?
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, but as soon as I called Andy Devine out as a scammer, Matt constantly attacked me. And it wasn't.
But when you say attack, did he threaten you?
Well, he called me all sorts of things. He abused my gender. He threatened to take my silver off of me. He offered me my phones back for silver. He knew them phones were stolen, and he played a game with the police, and he got away with it. But he completely abused me, sticking up for Andy Devine, that was a scammer, which was all I'd done was called Andy Devine a scammer. And Matt Taylor decided to stick his fucking nose in and called me everything and done everything he could to discredit my name. And it had fuck all to do with him. Just because he was in the group, it had fuck all to do with him, just like it had fuck all to do with Kaylee. They both attacked me as well as other people, constantly attacking me, tarnishing my name. And that's why I can't stand Matt Taylor. He never told the truth about anything. He lied, and he's a horrible, scummy piece of shit.
So was there a back and forth of insults, and it kind of like got out of control? Is that sort of what happened?
Well, I definitely give him what he deserved.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
so there was a back and forth.
He poked his nose into me calling Andy Devine a scammer.
Right. So there was a back and forth of insults, and neither of you would back down, and it sort of just escalated.
Well, I refused to be insulted by him when I wasn't even talking to him.
So that's what it is, isn't it, really? It just escalated.
I'm going to attack him back, and he didn't like what was coming out of my mouth. He thought I was going to be one of them little girls that run off crying and never heard of again. But no.
So neither of you,
my name to this day.
So neither of you backed down. It just sort of became a standoff sort of thing.
Yeah, I understand. Listen, at the end of the day, COVID, I don't give two fucks about Matt. I done what I done with the cunt because he done what he done with me. Now I can't be bothered. I'm uninterested. I find him a very boring, shallow piece of shit.
That's true. But have you what I meant by that's true? What I meant was it's true that you don't have anything more to do with him. But have you noticed that when Tony comes on, he keeps bringing his name up?
Yeah, only now and then. And the only reason he brought him up is because the only time he goes and sees Matt Taylor is when people like the Mouse bring him up and that. It wasn't a big issue what he was saying about Matt Taylor tonight. It's like what I was saying as well. The only time I hear about these people is when I watch Danny Jones or AJ or the Mouse or whoever, etc., bring up a live or whatever they've said. I'll go and watch them And if it's about this person or that person, that's who it's about. And we listen to it, and that's it. We don't go to Matt Taylor's and go, Matt Taylor, you're out of order doing this live. You're lying this and you're lying that. We're uninterested in him. We find him boring. But if someone else picks up something off of his live and they bring it out and show it, of course we're going to watch it.
So you don't mind people...
I'd rather give the mouse my votes than go into Matt Taylor or Kaylee or any of the other fucking cronies that I've been dealing with in the past.
So you don't mind people calling in and talking about Matt Taylor then? You don't mind people doing that?
Well, no. Look, at the end of the day, we was talking about the only time we interact or listen to Matt Taylor is when someone else is bringing it up on a live.
But you didn't bring it up.
If someone's doing a premiere on Andy Devine, I'll go and listen to it.
But you weren't talking about Matt Taylor. The only reason that you started talking about him is because Tony Harris brought it up.
Well, no, it wasn't that.
It is. It's true, because I listened to it. I listened to it.
We're not talking about Kaylee tonight, but the title's got Kaylee in it. And that
but you weren't talking about Matt. You didn't bring up. You weren't talking about him. It was him that brought it up.
But he probably would have come up at one point because someone would have asked a question about him.
But I thought you said he's boring and you don't like talking about him.
He is boring. But if someone asks me a question,
he wasn't asking you a question. He wasn't. He wasn't asking you a question.
I'm just saying.
But he wasn't doing that.
Convid, are you sucking Matt Taylor's cock or something?
No, I'm just saying that you're not letting me talk. It's like I'm listening, but I'm being respectful.
But why are you making this whole? It's like I'm not interested in Matt Taylor, and all you're talking about is other people bringing him up in here. I'm not interested in him.
Exactly. So why do you entertain it? So why do you entertain it then? So why do you entertain it?
But you're constantly bringing him up, and yet you're turning it.
I didn't bring him up. It was Tony Harris that brought him up, and that's what fascinates me. All he ever does.
Tony's not here, and we wasn't talking about it until you.
Do you know how long he spent talking about him today? Were you aware of how long?
I'm not interested.
But you were interested because you were talking to him about it.
Because
you didn't tell him to stop.
Questions, and I answer them.
He wasn't asking questions. He was telling you what he thought.
Yeah, and what's wrong with that? You make it a crime.
No, it's not a question. Well, he has committed a crime actually, which has been investigated. He has actually committed a crime against him.
Well, okay. We'll let the investigation begin. I'm not
interested. Just want to mention it. I just mentioned that he has committed a crime again.
Yeah, but I'm not interested.
Okay, just want to mention it.
Who's that? The messenger, Jaffa. We'll go and tell you the messenger because you tell everyone everything. I'm not interested.
Why do you say I tell everyone everything? Why do you say that?
No, I said that to the messenger, not you.
Who's the messenger?
Jaffa Blackman.
I don't know who that is.
Well, I'm really surprised because he goes in everyone's group going, so-and-so said something about you. So-and-so said this. So-and-so's talking about you. And now he's in here saying, Paris, Kaylee won't be pleased seeing her name in here in your title. I don't give a fuck, messenger.
I didn't understand. You're talking about the chat room.
If you look at my other title, messenger, it's like a survey just to prove a point. To prove a point. I'll do my music stuff. No one comes on. As soon as I put a title in there that's a bit controversial or creates content, everyone fucking jumps on. It's like I've been on here for 4 hours and there's 15 people in here. I'll get 2 to 5 people. 2 to 5 people when I play my music, which I put a lot of effort into. I put a title up and everyone fucking jumps on it. That's how fucking stupid YouTube is. And that's how fucking shallow people are.
Are you talking to the messenger? Who are you talking to?
Yeah, I'm talking to the messenger.
I've only just worked out that you're talking to somebody in the chat room.
Oh, right, sorry. I can't
see the chat. I can't see the chat.
Messenger.
Yeah, I didn't know what you meant.
Oh, right. Yeah,
you got 15,
Blackman. He goes in everyone's group and says everyone's talking about everyone. I don't know how he gets the time to go in everyone's group and work out who's doing what and then go to the other group and go, so-and-so's talking about you.
Oh, yeah. I've never heard of him. First I've heard of him.
Oh, well.
you must watch different channels.
Look up Convid Messenger. There's another customer for you to go to.
Tony Harris put my name and address up.
He's like security. Once he knows who you are and what you're all about and all that, he'll come to you every time someone talks about you.
Okay, well, Tony Harris will help him with that. If he just asks, contact Tony Harris Messenger and he'll fill you in. He'll tell you everything you need to know. I think Tony's funny.
Yeah, I like Tony. He's never been horrible to me.
No, I think he's a personality.
What's whose name? His name's Convid. I don't know his other name. I'm not.
Ask Tony Harris. Tony Harris will tell you, Messenger.
Ask Tony Harris. He would tell you who Convid is.
Yeah, he'll tell you everything you need to know.
He's on to you already, Convid.
Oh yeah.
There's another one for his album.
What can I do? Like I said to Tony, I said, look, if you really want to talk to me, come down. You've made all the effort to find out where I live. Why bother doing that if you're not going to turn up? That's why I was confused.
I'll give you a clue. He's Matt Taylor's friend. Convid's Matt Taylor's friend.
Well, you know Emily that was talking. You know Emily, that's Tony's partner. She goes on the Matt's channel, so she likes talking to Matt. So that's a bit confusing because Tony says he doesn't like Matt, and yet his partner always jumps on Matt's live.
Well, perhaps she finds it entertaining.
Exactly. So that's confusing to me because Tony hates him apparently. Thinks he's
that Tony doesn't control Emily.
Of course he doesn't.
Well,
no one would suggest that.
Well, there you go then.
But he did set fire to a woman's car though and went to prison for it. So he's got a bit of a dark background.
He wants to know how to find your channel, Convid.
Well, do you know what, Paris? I've got 100 subs and yet I've never made a video. How about that?
Yeah, that's cool.
Not bad for someone that's boring, is it?
Yeah. So so you've got a channel, but you've never made a video.
Well, I've obviously got. You need one. Don't you need an? Well, yeah, you need to exist, don't you, on YouTube? So you need to have a channel. But yeah, everyone's got a channel, haven't they?
So you've got 100. You've got 100 subs. You've got 100 viewers, no subs.
Yeah.
And
never made a video.
So no one else, none of them 100 subs knew who you was.
All they did, they see me making comments and they immediately sub to me because they think, oh, who's this?
Well, they must have had a spanner then.
Don't know how it works. But I just think it's funny that I've got all these subs. I've got more subs than Tony Harris, and yet he pumps out videos.
If you go into a chat, right? I mean, because you're quite controversial. You argue all the time, right?
Yeah, people like that.
The first thing someone's going to do, if they've got a spanner, is click on your name, and then it will bring your channel up. That's how you've got your subs.
See, I get a reaction, don't I?
Well, because it's not always like a good thing, because if you're being controversial or arguing for the wrong people are going to want to know who you are, not necessarily because they like you.
No. So it's a bad thing then, really, isn't it, that I've got 100 subs? That means 100 people hate me.
It's good and bad, isn't it? Because if you've not made any videos and you've got 100 subs, that tells me most of them are trolls.
Must be, mustn't it?
Yeah.
I think half of them are Tony Harris's stock accounts.
Oh.
Good old Tony.
Yeah.
But I just don't get why he's not happy. I don't know why he's always so grumpy with me, because he's got the woman of his dreams now, so he should be loving it.
Well, he doesn't sound grumpy when he comes on here. He always.
But when I turn up, he gets all agitated.
Yeah, well, perhaps you annoy him.
I know. Why would I annoy him? I don't know why I would annoy him, because he's got the woman that he wanted.
Yeah, but Convid, at the end of the day, you fucking annoy me as well. You come on here and you just like you don't want to have a conversation. You just want to like.
I'm now. I'm playing the game, Paris. You know that. You've been around the block. You know what it's like. Well, that's why you let me back on.
You're not stupid. You lasted quite well tonight.
You're not stupid. You wouldn't let me on. But you wouldn't let me back on if you really believed I was a cunt. You wouldn't let me back on. You're not silly. You know what I'm doing.
I would have more subs if I was more consistent.
Oh yeah.
The trouble is, Messenger, or a lot of my lives, I play music and they all get struck. I am consistent, but they all get struck because I like to play my music. And they all get copyrights, so they all get struck off. So you don't see a lot of my lives.
But you also like people jumping on, don't you, Paris?
Yeah, of course I do. I prefer people to jump on, but I don't like all this shit because I've done all that and it's boring. I'm not. I want to try and find a niche where everyone comes on and has a chat and it's good educational content. Not so and so said this, so and so said that, blah blah blah.
But that's what Tony Harris was doing. He was doing that relentlessly. That's why I was confused.
He wasn't doing it relentlessly.
Well, if you listen back,
it was because you're going to pick up on every little thing.
But if you listen back to it, you might be surprised how much time he spent.
Yeah, but it didn't roll me up enough to go, look, Tone, you're going on a bit. I'm not interested.
Yeah, because you agreed with him. You agreed. It's because you agreed with what he was saying.
And it was welcome. But when you
agreed with what he was saying. That's why.
I can't remember what he was saying, but I don't really care.
What he was saying about Matt. What he was saying about Matt.
Yeah, but that's how important it is to me. Someone has their opinion on someone, it comes
Yeah.
and it goes, and it's gone. I'm not interested on
But
that.
if you agree with them, the conversation flows.
Keep looking it up.
Yeah, I was confused about it because I thought, well, you don't like talking about the man, and yet you spent all that time talking about him. Didn't make sense. I thought you'd just say, look, Tony, I don't like talking about him.
No, but when he brings out truths, it's like, yeah, you're right, whatever.
That's my point. That's my point.
Stop
that you agree
anyway, Convid, because it gets a bit boring.
I'm allowed to stick up for somebody.
What did you do the weekend?
I'm not embarrassed or ashamed for sticking up for somebody who I think is being badly treated. I'm not embarrassed or ashamed to do that. You'd do that if you knew somebody that was being misrepresented or badly spoken of. You try, wouldn't you? You try and speak up for them. That's a decent thing to do, isn't it?
But when someone keeps proving they're a weirdo, it's like you've got to stop sticking up for them.
Maybe the more you get to know about Tony Harris, maybe that would be helpful.
Look, if Matt Taylor had come in here from day one and been polite like Tony Harris has, I wouldn't have a problem with Matt. But all he chose to do was attack me, abuse my gender, threaten me. He done all sorts of shit. I can't stand it because I've even said, let's just call this a day and try and get on. And then within 2 minutes, he's back on it. He's a sick individual. He's mental. See, now you're talking about him and I'm bringing stuff up about Matt. But yet if it was someone else coming in, they go, why are you and Convid talking about Matt? You said you didn't want to have nothing to do with him, but you keep talking about him. So here we are.
Hold on a minute.
Here we are talking about Divvy Matt Taylor. He's a boring, shallow piece of shit that doesn't know the truth if it smacked him in the face.
You know what I noticed? That when Tony was on, you let him speak. But when I'm on, you won't let me talk. I noticed that.
You're talking for ages, time for fuck.
No, keep interrupting. You keep not stopping me from talking. It's interesting.
All right, go on, say what you got to say.
No, but it's just something I noticed. Is that I get it. I do understand why, but you see me as a threat, but I'm not.
I don't see you as a threat at all, Convid. What I see is you try and rile up things that are relevant. It's your style. Your style just winds people up, and you do it deliberately.
You know why?
Deliberately.
But you know why?
Go on.
Because I like to get to the truth. I like to sift out all the nonsense, sift out all the mind games. Everyone's playing mind games on YouTube, even the softly spoken ones, even the ones that wouldn't say boo to a goose. Everyone's got an agenda. Everyone's got a style and a technique of getting their own way. That's human nature. And I just like to sift through it all and just see what we're left with. Hopefully the gold, you know.
Well, I come on here to try and enjoy myself and have a good conversation with people. But yeah, I keep getting the shit come up.
Exactly, that's my point. That's the point I'm making.
Why can't I just have a decent conversation
on here? That's the point I'm trying to make to you. Thank you. That is the point I've been trying to make. That is exactly what I'm trying to say to you. I'm just surprised that you've allowed Tony Harris to talk about Matt Taylor as many times. I don't think you're aware how many times he's done it previously.
Right, well, I'll be aware of it in future.
Well, that's it. See, I just
if it doesn't interest me, I'm not going to say I'm not going to let Tony talk about him. If it doesn't interest me, and then I'll drop it.
That's what I meant. I just thought I'd mention it, that Tony has actually committed crimes against him, and the way he keeps going on, it's only going to end up with more trouble.
Yeah, but I don't really care because I've got no respect for Matt Taylor at all. Anyone who wants to cut Matt Taylor off, crack on, because he's nothing but a piece of shit,
right?
That doesn't tell any truth. He twists everything, and he's a piece of shit.
So you don't mind people talking about him. So you don't mind people talking about him, do you?
Pardon?
So that's just confirming that you don't mind talking about Matt on your channel. You don't mind talking about him.
Well, I'll give you a few minutes to talk about it, but it gets a bit boring after.
Well, that's my point I'm trying to make. Is that he keeps doing it. Tony Harris keeps bringing him up.
But you're going over the top now because
no, I'm talking about what he's doing.
Spoke about Matt Taylor that much.
Well, you'd be surprised. You should listen back to some of your live streams.
Yeah, but look, if I haven't noticed it that much, it's not an issue. It's an issue to you, but it's not to me.
Well, it's an issue to him actually because he's obsessed with him.
No, it's an issue to you because you've gone on about him more than Tony has.
That's not true.
Well, you have. You're trying to prove a point, but you ain't stopped going on about it. I find him a boring cunt, and
exactly that's my point. So when he brings him up, why do you allow him to keep talking about him? That's the bit I'm confused about.
Well, maybe because at the beginning it's not boring, but you're taking it to the boring level now.
Why is it boring when I talk about it then? Explain that.
Well, because you've been talking about it for ages.
I know the reason. It's because I stick up for him. And that's why you find it boring.
No. You've
enjoy it when he's being slagged off.
Say about him, and
you enjoy it when he's being slagged off. When people are actually defending him, it's boring.
Pardon?
You enjoy it when people are slagging him off, but when people stick up for him, it's boring.
Is that right?
That's the way it comes across. Yeah, that's the way it appears. It's only my opinion.
Yeah. Well, maybe
Listen,
that
Barry,
just says to me that if you're sticking up for Matt Taylor, you haven't got the old grasp of what he's all about.
I lived with him for 3 weeks. I know him quite well.
3 weeks.
But that's more than Tony Harris has spent with him.
I've put up with him for 6 years.
Well, you don't get on, obviously.
No, but it was never an issue before I called Andy Devine out.
I just think it's odd that you say it's boring, and yet a lot of the time it's spent talking about it.
It's been 6 years.
You're the one that's saying it's boring. You're the one that's saying you don't like talking about him.
Yeah, because it's been 6 years.
But you do obviously like talking about him, because whenever Tony Harris comes on, he talks about him. And if you don't know that, then listen back to some of your live streams, and then very quickly you'll think, actually, that's true. He does keep bringing it up. Every time Tony Harris calls in, I guarantee you he brings up Matt Taylor. He does. He does.
If you don't stop this shit now, I'll just kick you. Because
what's the shit? What's the shit? What is the shit, though? But what is the shit?
Going on about Matt Taylor. It's boring.
But that's what he does. That's what he does.
He hasn't been on that long to talk about him that long.
Right. Every time he comes on,
all you've done is talked about your friend on here.
Harris, this is the last I'm going to say about the matter, okay? Every time he comes on, Tony Harris, he mentions Matt Taylor and talks about him. That's a fact.
In your opinion?
Well, you go back and listen and tell me I'm wrong.
I don't want to go and listen I don't want to listen to 4 hours of fucking chat on here.
No, I mean every time he has appeared,
it goes and goes great, and then you come on and you just want to pick these holes in everything, and that's what's boring me. Why? That's why it doesn't add up. That's why it doesn't add up what you're saying. But why are you like this?
I'm not Tony Harris. Well, I am actually, because I've called myself Tony Harris, haven't I? So technically, I am in this conversation. You know why I did that?
Like this? Why you?
Because you blocked me so many times. I have to come up with a different name.
I don't know why you're like this. You spend all this time talking about Matt Taylor just to have a dig at Tony Harris that has never caused me any problems. But
we're not talking about you. We're not talking about you, are we?
Just because he's ended up with your girlfriend, you've got to come on here and slag him off to me.
No, he ended up with Paris. I ended the relationship with her, and I told her she should try and be in a relationship with him. That's actually what happened, and she knows that. And she's
grateful that she took your advice and it worked out.
Well, that's my point.
That's what you should be grateful for. You should.
No, he should be grateful.
Slagging him off about Matt Taylor because he got the prize.
No, you're not listening. You're not listening. I didn't want to be in a relationship with Emily Turner. Okay.
Yeah, I've got that bit. Yeah.
Right. So that's what happened, and then she went to him as a result of me ending the relationship with her. You do understand, don't you?
So what you're saying is you had a relationship with Emily, yeah?
Yep.
You finished it with Emily, yeah?
Yes.
She went and found herself another guy, and
just she knew him before. She knew him before.
You're looking at it as vindictive or something.
But this is the thing that confuses me. Every time I try and talk, you don't let me speak. But when Tony Harris was on, he talked for like 10 minutes solid.
I was answering you, for fuck's sake.
But that's the bit I don't get, is that you won't let me explain things. You just keep jumping in, and yet when others are on,
I was trying to get the facts right of what you just said, and then you're saying I'm interrupting you.
Well, because I've tried to explain it, and you're still not getting it, and I know you're not silly, so I don't understand why you're not getting it.
Well, I just explained it to you how I perceived it. Now you explain me if I was wrong or right.
Well, I've tried to about 5 times. I was in a relationship with Emily Turner. She'd never even met him. She'd never even met him. She spoke to him on YouTube, and he was desperate to be in a relationship with her, absolutely desperate. I turned up on YouTube, and immediately she started to be in a relationship with me, and he was fuming. He was absolutely fuming. It was eating him up. He was sending her email. He was so angry. He was just, and then he started to get other people to cause me problems. Again, you just done it though. You're saying you don't do it. So you want me to explain it.
I'm asking you because it's brought up a question.
But you didn't do this when he was talking.
Oh,
you let him talk endlessly. You never interrupted him.
Carry on then, and then I'll forget the question I was going to ask you.
Just saying it's not consistent. I get it. It's okay. You're not interested. Fair enough. I can't make you interested.
Listen, you just said something, right, that made me think of a question, right? And I thought I would ask you before I forget the question. But all you keep saying is I'm butting in and not letting you talk.
You are. Because you're not interested.
And I'll forget the question just so you can tell me everything again.
It's okay. I can't make you care. I can't make you interested.
Right,
I get it.
Can I ask the question then?
It's your channel. Obviously, it's your channel.
Okay. You just went on about all that shit, right? But
I didn't go on about anything.
You didn't know Tony. You didn't know Tony. You didn't know Tony, right?
What do you mean didn't know him? What do you mean? What do you mean? I don't understand what you mean. Didn't know. What do you mean?
Right, you're gonna let me explain.
Because I don't know what you mean by didn't know.
Said you didn't know Tony at all, right?
But I don't know what you mean. I did know him on YouTube.
Yeah, but you just said a little while ago, you didn't know Tony at all when you knew Emily, right?
No,
but
that isn't what I said. That isn't what I said.
You just said that Tony kept sending Emily messages because he really wanted to get to know her, right? So you're one of these guys that jump on other men's women, even though you know they really
she didn't like him.
And
she didn't like.
Now you're changing the whole thing. No, listen, Convid, you're talking shit now, right? Because you said you didn't know Tony, right? And then you started talking to Emily, and you knew that Tony really liked Emily,
but she didn't like him.
No, you're talking crap. So what you've actually done is you knew a guy fancied a girl, and you jumped on that fucking girl.
She didn't like him.
To stay away to see if them two got on together. But
yeah, you're going to listen
all the time.
So can I now talk?
Yeah, go on, your turn.
She repeatedly made it clear that she did not like him.
Oh, you've added that. That didn't.
No, because you wouldn't let me talk.
No, you should have said that at the beginning. You just added.
Oh, Paris, stop playing your silly mind games.
Oh, don't piss me off. Don't play the game. You're playing a player here. Don't mug me off, Convid. You said earlier you didn't know Tony, and then you said that Tony was all over her. And in my mind, you stole her off of Tony.
How could I steal her when she didn't like him, Paris?
You stole her off of Tony. She realised that she backed a bad apple. And then she went back to Tony.
Do you know how long she was speaking to him before I turned up?
Go on, tell me.
Right. Do you know how long? Do you know how long he had before I came on the scene to be with her?
No, that's irrelevant.
Oh, okay. So why wasn't she immediately fascinated and intrigued by this man?
You don't have to be fascinated. Do you think love is at first sight or something?
So how long should we have left it then?
That's irrelevant. I've exposed you, and you don't fucking like it.
So if you allow me to talk, then I can give my side.
You knew that Tony fancied her, and you jumped on her. You wooed her with your bullshit, and you stole her off of Tony. But Tony won the day, and all you can do is pick on him and say that all he goes on about is Matt Taylor. You only like Matt Taylor because you know Tony can't stand him.
Tell me when it's my turn. Tell me when it's my turn, Paris. When is it my turn to talk? When is it my turn to talk, Paris?
Now, let me go and get a beer. I can hear you out in the kitchen. Go on, it'll take me 2 seconds. Crack on.
Well, I'll wait for you to come back. No, it's okay, I'll wait for you to come back.
Go on, I can hear you.
Right. Tony had a reputation on Sharon Girl's channel for trying to pick up women. He tried it with Sharon Girl. So this is before I came along, right? This is what I found out later by talking to these people. He originally tried it on with Sharon Girl. He also tried it on with a couple of other women on YouTube. Then he met Emily, and there was another character that was talking to Emily, and who's
the character? I want names. You can't just say character.
Well, I could make up a name. You wouldn't know, would you?
Well, I know really Emily and I know Sharon Gale. Try me.
Well, it's just somebody on YouTube that doesn't have a channel. It's just somebody that comments.
Oh, right. So an unnamed person.
Well,
so we're talking about the person is with.
Okay. So again, I can't talk.
Sharon Gale and an unnamed.
Once again, I can't talk. So once again, I can't.
Go on, sorry.
So once again, I'm not allowed to talk.
I'm just trying to clear up the facts as we're going along, Convid.
It's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. This is it. I don't mind you doing it because you're never going to hear my side of the story. So you're always going to believe what you want. And if that's the way you want it.
Listen, I'm listening to you, but your story has got flaws, okay?
Because you not let me talk. You spent half an hour talking over me. It's okay. It's your channel, Paris. I can't stop you from doing it.
Convid, listen. Do you want me to clear the facts up all at the end so the facts get lost, or do you want me to clear them up as we go along?
What I'd like you to do is listen, and then you'll know what happened. How about that?
I've got it this time. Go on.
But can you do it?
The stage is yours.
The answer is no. You can't do it because you don't want to, because you want to sabotage it and make sure that this conversation ends with me never being able to tell you the truth. And that's what goes on. That's what goes on.
No, listen, Convid, right?
And I get it. I totally get it.
No, you were saying that Tony was going on Sharon Gale's. He chatted up Sharon Gale, he chatted up Emily, and he chatted up an unknown person. But all I asked you was who was the unknown person. And then all you said was you keep interrupting. I need to know the unknown person.
Do you?
Well, yes, I do. Because you're telling me a story, but I'm not allowed to know the characters. And I'm not allowed to talk and ask questions and ask you about the character. But yet you keep saying, I interrupt you. So I'll shut up, just put everything out there, put all the facts out there, I want all the names and all that, so that I don't have to interrupt.
Of course you do, because you're so interested.
I won't have to interrupt. Bring it on.
You're so interested, aren't you?
I'm going to stop talking now.
No, you're not.
Everything.
You can't stop talking because you're enjoying it so much. You know when people have a conversation, right, in real life?
It's normally two-way, yeah.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you know when you meet somebody, right, and they're telling you, oh, you never guess what happened, right? And as soon as they start telling you, you talk all over them, and you tell them that they're actually wrong, and you say, oh, I know what really happened. Oh, I know what really happened. And the person looks at you and says, Paris, what are you doing? I'm trying to tell you what actually happened because I was there. And then you say to him, no, you're full of shit. There's holes in everything. I know what happened. And the person's going to look at you.
All I asked you about was who this unknown person was.
Yeah, you did. For the last 20 minutes, you've been telling me I'm full of shit. There's holes in everything I'm saying. It's mad. But I get it because it's YouTube. It's entertaining and it's like humiliation. I get it all. I've been through it all. But guess what? I'm still talking because I know how it all works. And I know that eventually truth comes out. And this is just another example where people try and embarrass you or twist things or shout all over you. And that's why I was saying that when he was on earlier, I noticed it was intriguing. He would talk for literally 10 minutes solid. And you would say, Dickie Bird. As soon as I start talking, can't even get through 30 seconds. I get it. I totally get it. I do understand it. I know how this game works. But I just thought it was useful for you to know what happened, but you just don't want to know. So welcome to YouTube.
I can't be. You're running out of words, aren't you? Because I'll shut up. You don't know what to say. You rely on me to interrupt. I've decided to be quiet because I want to hear this story about Emily, Sharon Gale, and Tony.
Right, give me your word that you'll let me talk for 5 minutes solid.
I'll give you my word.
Right, let's do it then. Starting from now. So I went on YouTube. I went in this community that they call it, round about, I don't know, 2021, about October. And I stumbled across Matt's channel and a few other people, Grobnob and all these people. And I just sort of joined in. I normally just buzz around different channels, but I stuck around there, got chatting, started to pick up all the characters and start to get to know them. And this Emily was like taking an interest in me and being, asking me questions. And, and then I noticed that this Tony was also there and he was getting very jealous and very sort of, possessive. And I thought, oh, what's happening there? Well, are they an item? Are they involved? And then I sort of pieced it all together and very quickly I worked it out that she wasn't interested in him. He tried it on before. He got very jealous when another person was talking to her. And that's when I found out that he had a reputation for being very possessive and very odd, especially around women on YouTube. So, I just thought, well, it's another character on YouTube. So what? And then she got more and more involved. And then we started to exchange personal details, like and I put my email address on. Obviously, this was going on for months. So it went on to the new year now. And then we're talking, and then it becomes obvious that we're talking personally. And he's getting more and more jealous. See, this is my point. He wasn't with her because he was jealous that I appeared, and she was obviously more interested in me than she was in him. That's her choice. She's allowed to do that. There's nothing about me stealing her from him because she made it very clear that she didn't want to be. She actually, you know what? She actually left a comment once on YouTube saying, "I will never meet Tony Harris in person. I will never meet him." That's the exact word she said. So that's pretty obvious that she doesn't want to be with him. And he had months and months before. Being with her, something could have happened. It was up to them. It was her choice to. And then we spoke privately, and that's when I realised that she genuinely didn't like him because of what she said to me privately. And obviously, that is private, and I would never embarrass people and give the details. But it was very, very obvious that she didn't find him attractive and didn't want to be with him. That was then. Obviously, things can change. I get that. So then we were exchanging emails. Then we met. Now that's when it got a bit weird because I remember once that we all met at Matt's. Me, Emily, and Matt turned up, and then he made a video. A creepy video saying that we could be in danger of raping her. It was such a weird video, and people started to leak voicemails that he'd sent. He'd send like 45-minute voicemails to people. Very obsessive character, and she was very wary of him at the time. And we met, and it was my decision. I decided that I couldn't commit. I just couldn't do it. I didn't want to pursue a serious relationship, and I didn't want to mess her about. I didn't want to upset her or hurt her. And but she was she always viewed him as like a brother character. That was the expression she'd use. She'd always see him as there was absolutely no attraction, and that was absolutely the exact word she would say. There was no attraction there whatsoever. And I'd say to her, well, don't you think it's unkind if he gets the impression that because you keep talking to him and sending him song links on YouTube that maybe he's still because he was absolutely obsessed with her. So you got to think about it from my perspective. I'm in a relationship with this woman, and yet she's sort of being a bit flirty with him, and that raised questions in my head. And that was partly the reason why I ended it, because I thought, well, maybe there is a possibility she likes him, and that's exactly what I said to her. I said, look, why don't you just try it with him? Because you might end up being that you do like him, and you don't even know it. So that's the